The next simple structure that we're going to be discussing is on how we can help people be prepared and excited about our next session. What exactly do they need to do between now and then in order to be successful? My name is Nan Drake, and I'm a Carnegie Master from the United States. And this simple structure is called intentional preparation. When we hear words like homework, and required reading, and everything, it can be a little bit off-putting. But intentional preparation is a way that we can really get at the who we are part of our methodology. If we want to improve results, change what we do, we really need to transform something inside of ourselves. So this intentional preparation really hits that piece of the methodology. So the structure goes like this. The first thing that we want to do, or the first thing that's important for us to do, is to really sell people on what the benefits are of participating. So typically when we sell something, we're looking at the value of it, how it relates directly to the individual. People buy on an emotional level. So we want to hit people's emotions, create some pain, so that they come, I've got to be at that, I've got to come so I can find out what I can do to make this better. On the tell part, we make very clear exactly what people need to do to be successful. If it's giving a report, if it's timing, if it's practicing something, if it's thinking something through, if it's consulting with your manager, all the details that are going to be important. And then we, depending of course on what's going to be coming up, we provide an example. So for example, if we're giving a report, we'll have a coach give an example, or we may actually demonstrate something so that people have a feel for what's coming up, and people will often remember the example report more than they'll remember the details. And also to provide options. Here's some choices, here's some things that you can be thinking about. Well, once the example report has been completed, we debrief everything. So again, it's really clear on timing, format, different details that might be critical to be successful. And then we refer people to the manual. If we get people into the manual too soon, they're not paying as much attention, or they might be looking at it more as a homework or as a task versus something that's really taking place within us. And then the final step is to make sure that everybody's clear by asking for questions. So one challenge for many trainers is how we assign the defining moment. So let's take a look at a way that we can use this process to set up the defining moment session for the next week. So this is typically bridges off of the summary for name remembering. So it might go something like this. So Greg, you mentioned that the more that we know people, the easier it is to remember their names. Well, one of the ways that we can get to know people is by understanding them, finding out what their stories are, who they are as a person. As a leader, it's important for us to be able to know about the people around us, and then some ways that we can, having that information can help us to motivate them, to really be much more empathetic with things that are going on in their lives. So next session, we are going to get to know each other at a deeper level, and also get to know ourselves at a deeper level by taking a look at some of those experiences that we've had in our lives that we call defining moments. A defining moment might be a time when we made a decision to one thing or another, or a defining moment might have been an experience that really had a transformational effect on us. Each person will have up to 2 minutes to tell their story, and then how that defining moment tells us, what that defining moment tells us about who you are as a person today. So let's have Megan come on up and give us one of her defining moments. So let's welcome up Megan. Come on up, Megan. So Megan you'll notice as Megan gets going that she's going to start right in with what was happening in the moment. So Megan, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got 2 minutes on the clock. Begin.
I was in Italy on stage performing in a concert with a huge choir, and I looked out into the audience and saw a family of people crying. I went on tour with my choir my senior year of college, and we toured all around Italy in these big, beautiful Italian cathedrals. And we were all ready for the concert, and we were up performing. And during one of the pieces, I had a solo at the end, and the piece itself was dedicated to a student who passed away from cancer while she was in college.
Notice how Megan's putting on all these details to really get us into that picture.
And I had the solo at the end of that piece. It's a beautiful, high soprano solo that's really, really floaty, and it's a gorgeous piece. And while we were singing that, I looked out and saw the family of the girl who passed away was actually traveling with us. And after the concert, they came up to me and were just in awe of everything that had happened, and said that when I was singing my solo, they looked up and they saw their daughter in me. And that was a huge moment for me to realize the impact
the
that
emotion.
I have on other people. And so listening to people's stories and the things that they have to share, maybe about their day, maybe about something important that happened to them, has really made me reflect on how I can spend my time appreciating those stories.
So let's reinforce that, what it tells us about you one more time again, Megan. So what does it tell about who you are today?
So it defines who I am today because I take more time, both professionally and personally, to really listen to people's stories and where they come from, because it might change the way they live.
All right, thank you, Megan. So Megan gave us a 2-minute example, or 2-minute story from her life where she really dug into that defining moment. Once again, you'll notice that she didn't give a lot of background. She just took us right to the stage, what happened, what people said, and then finally brought it all home in the end with what this tells us about who she is as a person today. So let's go ahead and reflect for ourselves on what might be some of those defining moments. In your books, in your manuals, on tab 2, on page 17, there's a planning sheet. So let's just take a couple minutes now to identify 2 or 3 defining moments. You don't have to decide right now which one that you're going to be telling us about next week, and reflect on it during the week so that when you come back next week, you've got that right story for you. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so everybody have something that you are comfortable with. If not, please see one of us after the session and we can help discuss some things at a deeper level. So who's got a question on what we'll be doing next session? So to bring this all together, the simple structure for intentional preparation is to sell the value, sell the reason behind what we're doing. Tell specifically exactly what a person needs to do to be successful. Provide an example and options. Also debrief the example, or debrief the whole thing so that people are very clear. Refer them to the correct spot in the manual, and finally, bring it all together by asking who has a question.